Levels of processing. We have seen in previous videos that memory is encoded, stored, and retrieved. We don't process all sensory information in the same way. Some require very little cognitive effort to process, while others take much more cognitive effort. In this video, we will learn the different levels of processing of memory. Before going to the details, please remember to subscribe this channel. Please do watch other videos in the channel and share it with students and those who love learning psychology. Thank you. In 1972, CRAIK and LOCKHART proposed a new model of memory formation related to the depth of processing. They theorized that not all the sensory information is processed the same. Then 3 years later, they developed a study that would test out this theory. That is, all the sensory information is processed in the same way. Their study, it helped to prove that the hypothesis could be right and our memory recall depends on how we interact with information. The information that require more cognitive processing or deeper processing will be more likely remembered than the information that requires shallow processing. The fundamental claim of the level of processing model is that the deeper information is processed, the more likely it is to be remembered. This theory of memory uses a hierarchy of different level of processing from shallow to deep. There are 3 levels at which the information can be processed, from the shallowest to the deepest. They are the structural level, the phonemic level, and the semantic level. First one, structural level processing. It occurs when we encode the physical appearance of something. For example, here the word hair is written. We may notice the color of the written word, or whether it is in capitals or small letters. The structural processing include taking the stimulus, the color, the size, shape, or the physical form. This type of processing doesn't require too much deep thought. We simply take the stimulus for what it is. It requires maintenance rehearsal or repetition in order to stick in our short-term memory. The maintenance rehearsal doesn't stick as effectively as the elaboration rehearsal. So, in structural processing, the physical characteristics of the sensory information is taken. Second is phonemic processing. It is a step higher than the structural processing, but it is still a shallow form of processing the information. It occurs when we take in sounds. For example, you are looking at a list of words like play, bottle, door, chair, and you are asked which of the word has 2 syllables or which one rhymes with the word hair. In order to answer the question correctly, you will have to sound out each of the word. Play, bottle, door, chair. You will sound out each of the word in your head and count the syllables, or you compare it to the sound of the word hair. The phonemic processing is more shallow form of processing, but it often has a higher rate of recall than the structural processing. The maintenance rehearsal is also required for the stimuli to stick in short-term or the long-term memory. Third level is the semantic processing. It is the deepest form of processing. This involves processing information about the meaning of the word. If Structural processing encodes the font color of the word hair, and the phonemic processing encodes the sound of the word. Then the semantic processing, it encodes what the hair is, how it relates to other words around it, etc. The semantic processing goes deeper than the physical appearance or the auditory information. So we encode it in a different way. It involves elaboration, rehearsal. During the elaboration rehearsal, we may contemplate how the stimuli fit into our everyday lives. This more in-depth interaction with the stimuli, it makes it easier to recall them later. Advantage of the level of processing model. The theory shows the importance of elaborating on a word and playing with it more than just looking at it or hearing it. By putting the word into context, it will be easier to store in long-term memory. Another advantage of this model is it explains why some stimuli are easier to remember than others. Let's see the factors that influence the memory recall. First one, familiarity. If the information fits in neatly with other long-term memories, it is more likely to be stored and recalled with ease. For example, you witness an incident in your family and it has happened many times before. So you have already stored memories with the previous events, and your new memory fits neatly among these memories and you will be able to easily recall it. That is familiarity. Then comes transfer appropriate processing. It means the memory is improved when the way the information is processed during the encoding. The information that is processed during the encoding, if it matches the way it will be retrieved, then the memory is improved. For example, if you study for a multiple choice test by taking practice quizzes that use the same format as the actual test, then you may perform better on the test itself. The third is the self-reference effect. Working with information and relating it to ourselves, it will be more effective in memory. It won't be always easy to do that. Not all the information relates back to our personal lives, right? So it won't be much easy every time. But if you can try to relate information back to yourself, you are more likely to recall that information later. For example, when you are introduced to a group of new people and you are trying to remember their names by associating them with your own personal experience. For example, one person's name is Elsa. Then you can relate it. Oh, her name is Elsa, like my sister. So if you can relate the information back to yourself, then you can easily recall the information. So these are the factors that influence the memory recall. Now let's have a quick recap on what we have learned. We have learned the levels of processing theory by CRAIK and Lockhart. They proposed 3 levels: structural, phonemic, and semantic. The structural is the shallower level of processing and the semantic is the deepest level of processing. And we have seen the advantage of this model and the factors that affect the memory recall. Hope you like this video. Please like, share and subscribe. Thank you and keep smiling.